In the real world, you can't use a tool to solve every problem. So instead, you use a toolbox, which contains a bunch of different tools, and each tool highlights certain features, which makes it great for solving a specific type of problem. And the truth for programming languages. There are so many different languages out there, each with their own nuance. And the unfortunate truth is that most of them are so niche, you'll probably never discover them. That is, until you use PROGCHAMP. PROGCHAMP is a great visualizer for exploring a bunch of new languages and the different ways they're used. So, first step for using PROGCHAMP is to, of course, fork the repo. And once you've got that done, you just pull up the HTML file right here and run it. And wow, look at that. But you see you have an error over here. And that's because right now it's opening PROGCHAMP as a file when it should be opening it as an HTTP server. So you want to make sure that you have a server running, and the command is pretty simple, just Python or Python 3 -m and http.server. And now this is where we're going to have our website be. So in here, wherever your file path is, replace that beginning bit with localhost 8000. And when we refresh, you see no more errors. So let's explore what's going on here. First of all, I want to point out, as soon as you load, you see these numbers. This is to indicate the nearest neighbors. For example, we have this repo ant design. Of course, the closest repos are going to be the other ant designs. And as we go around this circle, they get farther and farther away in terms of similarity. And same thing here. For 1C Enterprise, the most similar language is Gherkin and Perl, F#, so on and so forth. And so that's kind of the first feature about PROGCHAMP is the graphs. We have a language visualizer over here and a repo visualizer here. Your current language is displayed in the center, and you can find some information in it in our helpful info bar. The same here, and it just has a name, a quick description, and for languages, a link, so you can learn more about that language if it seems super interesting. How convenient. And for repos, if a repo seems interesting to you, you can always search it up in GitHub and look at the details. But what's really important is the different languages over here. Because if we click on one, notice, now this turns into TypeScript. So it allows you to discover the languages within a repo. And similarly, this button Find a Repo takes that language and finds a repo that uses that language, like that. And looking again at our graph, you can move it around, zoom in, zoom out, do whatever you want with it. And you notice if we resize the screen, it doesn't quite fit. No worries, just reload, and it's great. Now, when we load up a new repo, for example, over here, it has to order all of our repos, and you can either choose to use merge sort or shell sort for that. And so one last feature I want to talk about is all of these nodes here. When you click on it, it switches to that. So if we want to look at what shell is about, ooh, that seems interesting, here it is. And same thing for repos. If you want to learn what the language services repo is about, bam, you've got it there. And you notice there are two more features up here. This is a search bar that lets you search for any language. So for example, one of my favorites is, of course, brainfuck. And once you type it in, you press enter, and bam, shows up right there. And once again, you can see repos. You can learn more about the language and pull up repos, explore to your heart's content. But finally, lastly, if you're feeling stuck and don't really know where to go, you just want some sort of inspiration, we have our POG button. When you press it, our logo over here, Poggers! Look at that! A completely new language and a completely new repo. And you can do this as many times as you want to explore a whole new multitude of programming languages and tools for you to use in your future. That is PROGCHAMP.